sir.
My guy.
God is good.
All the time, man. All the time. Good seeing you, bro.
Good to see you, sir. Can I go 30 off rip?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When
Oh, yeah.
I saw you, I said 2-1 in the building. You looked at me like 2-1.
I'm like, really?
Yo, man, let's go ahead, man. The conversation or the narrative was that you can't rock big crowds, right? Not only do you rock a crowd, I don't know how you feel. You rock the New York City crowd at times. You can be tough on people. And I saw that last night in full display. And I said this in my blog. I thought you were the MVP last night.
Thank you.
In terms of the first two, had 3, solid 1, 2, 3. I thought that was you last night.
Yeah, performance of the night. I think clearly performance of the night, on that card. Before we continue though, man, like I think one of the things we got to stop doing is acting like there was a narrative. Like just because Black Compass and Verb said I don't think he could rock a big stage, like we can't give them that weight because 3 people wanted to talk crazy,
Okay.
Like I already rocked the Ill Will battle at Max Out with 2,000 people, so like rocking a big stage should have never even been a problem, But they found a little silver lining and was like he can't rock a New York big stage, you know what I mean? So once again I did what I do. I go prove that there's not a stage, a type of league, a type of person or anything that I can't entertain in battle rap, whether it comes to small leagues out of the country, whether it comes to East Coast, West Coast, South, nothing, you know what I mean? So I definitely had a great time, man. 3 crazy rounds. I thought I did very, very well. It's
You think?
yeah. Well, 3, like a lot of times you write things and then there's things you can't control that depend on how it turns out. Like when you go during the night, if the doors open on time, if people are tight, you know what I mean? So you write these bars and you're like, man, this Crown Vic bar is crazy. But you're like, if I would have had to go after Easy and Hitman, you know what I mean? Would we be talking about the same exact material the same way? You know what I mean? And so I just was blessed to be able to go third, to have a crowd that was energetic and, the rebuttals and just, I think, my performance and everything, I'm able to reel them in. So.
Sir, when you had a rhyme like this, man, I'm on the road now. I got the queen in my rear view like, oh, wow. I'm looking over the Chrome crowd. I done switched the whole style. Because what y'all do when a Crown Vic is behind you, you slow. Dog, do you understand? I'm in the back, and people are losing their mind. Like, we're looking at you like, what is what? Dog, when you perform it the way you did, and Murder Mook walks off the stage, is that almost two-part question? You know it's going to hit, and the adrenaline rush. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, after like the first round and realizing like, this crowd is rocking with me heavy. You know what I mean? Because the battle before, I think the third round, the crowd was kind of mellowing out a little bit on Official and Prestavia. So I'm like, oh, I hope they're not getting tired. They're just sitting here or whatever. So, after my first round, I'm like, oh, they rocking with me heavy. You know what I mean? Second round comes, they rocking with me heavy. So I'm like, oh yeah. I didn't realize until probably like maybe the coin flip, like, oh, I'm going to sit down on this bar, I'm going to perform it out. I was already going to perform it out, but I didn't realize that the camera would be down there, and I'm like, oh, I can sit down right here, put my, you know what I mean? And I can make this hit a lot harder. So, yeah, you kind of know when you got them like eating out of your hands, and so it's just a great feeling. It's just a great feeling, and you're looking at your opponent and they're reacting to the last line, and you're thinking, wait to this next one, wait to this next. You know what I mean? That's just where it's at. It's like you think that was. So yeah, it was definitely as I was performing my second round, I was like, yo, this is gonna hit crazy, Those are then the questions come. Do you go ahead and just end the round on it, or do you go ahead and finish it the way you wrote it? And so I did the Verb call out right after, which hit crazy again. And I probably could have ended the second right there, but I had written in the Chrome body line that I wanted to end the second one, which it hit too, you know what I mean? Right. So yeah, there's little things like that, IQ and battle rap that kind of got to decide in the moment, but yeah, they all hit, man. It was great.
Staying on battle rap IQ, which you have very high, sir, I thought you did something better also than anybody else last night. You catered to the New York crowd. You pandered to the New York crowd. Remy Ma smiling when you hit her bar and finessed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are catching on this war. Like, you were the only one to me pander to that. Do you feel two-part reason? You had to do that and it makes sense? Or how does that work for you?
Well, what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to come across as like not authentic with the bars.
Right.
So you know, when I did like the New York hip hop piece, it was real. You know, when I said like my friends
Meet the
were watching Meet
Parents.
the
It was
Parents,
written.
I was listening to it. You know, part of me just wanted to just get the whole crowd to be like, let's take a trip down memory lane at the cemetery. You know, I was ready to just rap all the words to the song. You know what I mean? So so I was able to package it in a place to where like this is how New York hip hop has affected my life, you know. So it's like I don't feel like it's coming from a oh, I gotta write in New York bars, you know what I mean?
No, because
But
I guess Big K, you show love to the Memphis. I think
yeah,
you get the Memphis 8.
and you know, like I said, I'm from Tennessee,
Of
so like
course,
I talked about stuff that
of
I
course.
actually you know, I actually listened to growing up. So but I did think it was important, you know, like man, there's 1,000 people in there. They're there to be entertained, you know, like you I can sit here and write triple double entendres, rewind that, run this back, all that kind of stuff. I could write layered material, but you got to know who you're serving food for and what kind of food they like. You know,
Right.
you got to make sure, you know, they pay $125 at the door to get in there. You know, I don't want them to have to say, well, I got to go watch it on cam. I want them to say, hey, I had a great time in the building. And when I watched it on cam, it was crazy too. You know what I mean?
Verb already told y'all my weakness. Let's see if this is true, right? Is that something that I don't want to say placed in your mind, but you hear the chatters and stuff like that? How
Yeah.
much does that bother you at all? Do you look at it as battle rap talk? You and Verb. How serious is that? Do you feel?
It bothers me. It bothers me because, like I told you before, you know, like I just felt like he was like, just being intentional about trying to like sabotage a lot of stuff that I work hard for, you know. And, you know, at the end of the day, though, the storyline itself, you know, and if he's willing to take that battle, then it doesn't bother me as much. But if he's like running, if he's like, you know, just want to sit there and talk trash and not like really like lace up what I said, then it's going to continue to bother me because then it's not like battle rap stuff. It's just you being like really weird, you know,
Right.
and negative about somebody who's like in this culture, giving it his all and like showing out every month, you know?
You and Verb, is that a grudge match? Period. Not like it's a grudge match if it's
Yeah,
signed,
it,
you
it, it
deliver it.
can. Yeah, it can be. You know, like I mean, I'm not. I don't like the dude right now, but I respect Verb's legendary. You know, like everything he's done. You know, I live in Kansas City. I rep the
Midwest.
Midwest. Like I'm. You can probably go back and find tweets and YouTube videos and interviews where I've said, "Yo, Verb is one of those guys. He's Mount Rushmore type stuff." So I've never been like an
Right.
anti-Verb person, but just
Right.
the way he's going about things right now to me is just kind of like, "Yo, I don't know what his problem is."
Would you battle him in St. Louis? I know you said yes before, but he's saying now, I don't know how serious he is about this, but yeah, he'll take it in St. Louis if you're willing to battle. That was the kind
But
of
see, what
whispers.
Verb is
All right.
doing now is Verb is finding another escape. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he knows that you know. And shout out to St. Louis, shout out to Street Status, shout out to the Street Report. You know, the leagues there. But I think that he knows that like what we have built this matchup up to, like right now, like I don't know if there's a league that you know is going to put on a card like that to have that happen. You know what I mean? I mean, I could be wrong. And like I said,
Are you saying realistic? Are you saying realistically speaking? You're saying right?
realistically. Now think about this though. A Ward versus A Verb, Loso versus Young Ill. Like what kind of we could have a card there, you know, we could bring in, you know, we could bring in guys from Detroit, we could bring in the Midwest, and we could have a crazy card, you know what I mean? So if his whole thing is like it's gotta be on St. Louis, you know, I don't know. I don't know if Remy's ready to like bring Chrome 23, you know, out, or if Street Status is, you know, interested in booking that or whatever. But it's just whenever you go and say, well, now I'm only gonna take you here, you know, you're kind of putting yourself like in a situation where you're like, all right, now I can say, no, I'm not battling him anywhere else. I'm only battling him here. I did say I want to battle Verb in St.
Right.
Louis. I didn't never say I would only battle Verb in St. Louis.
Right.
If Remy says, hey, next event, I want you and Verb, you know, let's do it. If ARP says, yo, I want you and Verb, let's do it, you know? But I did also say, like, I'm the kind of competitor where it's like, yo, I'll battle you in St. Louis. But he's the kind of competitor that says, I'll only battle you in St. Louis. That's a big difference in that kind of mindset.
I'm noticing a lot of people. Verb wants to battle in the house at the crib. Mook is saying he wants to battle in New York. Do you feel like, as a competitor, would it mean more to you to beat Verb in St. Louis or Atlanta, or does it matter to you? It doesn't matter the city, state.
Yeah, I mean,
because
beating Verb in St. Louis, huh?
Because he's never lost in St. Louis, would that be more sweeter for you?
How many battles does he have in St. Louis?
Hollow, Hitman, Cortez. Yeah, he had a couple battles, 3 or 4, I believe.
All right, so yeah,
Street Status days.
Yeah,
you want to go in that bag?
Okay, so he ain't won a in St. Louis in what, 10 years?
Probably. It's been a while now. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. And he was good back then.
I want the battle to happen. I hope RB picks this up, man. Did you see a tweet by Calicoe also saying that what are we seeing you? And Shotgun Shook came to the defense. Shotgun Shook came to the defense. Okay.
Do you find it funny that, like, of the legendary battle rappers, or like the, the Mount Rushmore caliber battle rappers, the two that are like not sold and being like haters are like the two Midwest guys? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I guess. Why do you
like,
feel this way? You tell me, why do you feel this way? You're the competitor. Tell me why.
I don't know. I really don't know, bro. Like, I mean, because all of their peers and the people that they hang out with and they consider like their friends,
right,
think I'm, as good as what I say I am. You talk to Marv, you talk to John, you talk to Suge, you talk to Tay Rock, you talk to Easy. All these guys, they're all, and they're like, no, he's crazy. But then these two are just like, no, you know what I mean? So I don't get it either. I don't know if it's like an ulterior motives, or if it's just like, yo, if I give him props, then like I have to stand on that forever, and I'm not ready to do that, So it is what it is, bro.
Did people sleep in the first round that DeAndre Jordan line, or they not? I thought that line went on people ahead a little bit though. What?
It was a little bit. It's a little bit back. Years ago, the actual dunk itself. I thought it was super fire, but so you can see my reaction, and then I'm like, all right, let's keep it going.
Hey. I'm old school, like borrowing your mom Blockbuster card. I'm an old school head. So when you say stuff like that, it hit hard at me, man. What do you think about Vixen's first round? Because I thought after your first round, I'm sitting in the back like, this is not beatable in my opinion. You're gonna need these 4 or 5 haymakers to make this debatable, I felt.
Yeah.
What about Vixen's first round?
I thought her round was okay. I thought what happened with Vixen was, I don't know how long her rounds were. I know how long my rounds were, my first round was 3:30, my second round was 3:10, my third round was 3:10. That's that's how I wrote it. The time limits was 3 minutes to 3:30. I normally go longer in the first in case I have to go first, because the second and third I want to rebuttal. So that'll take up some time or whatever. But I felt like while I was up there that it was a long round. And when you're feeling like it's a long round and they're not getting as much a reaction as you realize a lot of the round is them rapping, So I felt like in all 3 of her rounds, she didn't like consolidate down like the good material into a jam-packed, 2.5, 3 minutes or whatever. She kind of just had so many dry spots that when she got to something I liked, people weren't that engaged, what I mean? Because I think she had just like longer rounds, So I think her first round was the clay line. I'm molding clay. Okay. Like you're trying to do some like visuals with your hands and stuff like that. Like, all right, cool. I told her in the Face Off. I don't know if y'all watched the Face Off.
I did watch the Face Off.
Let's talk about a rap. Put out a thing. She did an interview with Hip Hop Is Real. She said, and I quote, we can go find it. Performance is having a better performance than A-Ward is the easy part. Right? She questioned my performance. She's like, I'll outperform A-Ward easy. Right? So I popped up in the Face Off and I said, you don't understand what performance is.
I thought you were crazy. I thought you were tripping a little bit when you said that though, but if we're going performance, I thought you outperformed them again, so continue.
Oh yeah. Easily, the Crown Vic bar alone. Like I said, you don't have to have aggression. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be throwing up guns and doing this for it to be performance. Like, you got to have them on a string out there. You could be talking. What I did in the third round, it was a nice guy, Mr. Bad Guy. I did like that. Like, that's
but those pockets, those pockets you be going into is crazy.
And so, like, she really lit a fire under me when I seen that, And I was like, oh, you're going to question my performance skills before we go get on a stage in front of 1,000 people? All right, bet. I got you. I got you. And so, yeah, I mean, there were different times where she said things in different rounds where I was like, oh, that's good. That's good. Or she brought up an angle or two in the third round. I was like, oh, that's a good idea for an angle. But then there was times I was like, it could have been executed better, or maybe it's just been dry so the crowd's not really, getting into it. So I think the third round, if I go watch it on camera, I'm probably still going to think I got the third round clear, but I'm not mad because my first 2 were just rockets, you know what I mean? And the third was still really good. and hers was good, you know. So I
Right.
think the third round is possible that maybe somebody might be able to look at it and say it's close, but I don't think so.
Do you look? Let me ask you a question. When a person like Vix, do you think she suffers from? And I say this respectfully. If a line doesn't hit, she gets flustered and kind of get out of sorts a little bit. Do you sense that as you watching on stage?
I mean, no, I mean, she doesn't have like, she's not forgetful, so I never think like, oh, she's gonna choke or anything
Right.
like that. But I mean, she is an aggressor, and so she battles with a momentum. She battles with a pace, right? Even Jazz was like, "Don't shot, move, shoot, don't die, woo, do." She's writing that with the anticipation that the energy of the crowd is gonna keep her going. You know what I mean? And so if those things are falling flat, like against me, she did like white, white, night, night, right, right, and it was cool. But it wasn't. It didn't lead up to a bar.
Bar,
It was
yes,
just like, oh
yes,
my
yes.
gosh, you know what I mean? And so and so
Right.
so I think she does like she feeds off that energy. You know what I mean? And yeah, if it's not hitting or if it's getting dry or something like that, like then it's gonna affect. But I thought she stayed poised. I mean, somebody passed out at one time. There was
Yes.
times I think where the crowd was getting weary with her material, and instead of like getting mad
Caving
and
in.
yelling at the crowd, nothing
Right.
like that. She stayed very poised and she got through all her material, and I thought that was dope. I thought that's really dope because it's easy to get frustrated up there.
Let's go with your one-liners, sir. Your one-liners be, when you said, she got about 10 kids. Sorry, wrong Vic. I'm sitting there like, hold on, dog. Why
Yeah,
Danny gotta
man.
get the strength?
Like you think of like these witty lines
Yes,
and you're
yes,
like,
yes.
okay, that's not worth a 2-bar punch and that's not worth a 4-bar punch, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna punch line, like in the lead up 4 bars to
Mhm.
like wrong Vicky, you know what I mean? So I'm like, when you think of these little witty lines, you're like, okay, this is where you go in and how you're layering it right. And you're like, let's just start off with just that statement and then
Mhm.
bring it full circle and kind of come, So I start off with that statement and then I go into the whole pregnancy scheme,
Yes, that was hard.
and talking about her performance and different things like that.
Mm. So let me ask you a question. What's next for you, man?
I got nothing booked right now. Look at God. Look at God.
You had 18 battles. You had 18 battles last year. So what we doing
Yep.
this year? You know what I mean?
What's next for me is when we get off this, I'm going to the King of the Dot pay-per-view and I'm watching day 2 and I'm going to enjoy it. But no, obviously I still have a battle with Riot. We signed a 2-contract deal when I battled Rum Nitty, so I still got one battle
Mhm.
to do with the Riot. So I'm hoping that, here in the first quarter or, the spring or whatever, the Riot will come back and do an event. We could do that. Still great, relationship with ARP. I'm going to try and get on RBE if they've got something coming up. And then, Crow 23 is, a place that I think that I did well in my debut, and I anticipate Remy Ma, calling back to say, hey, I want to book this or I want to do this.
Were you excited? Were you excited for the Misfit battle? Because I heard you spoke about the battle. You and I spoke off air, but
Yeah,
you brought it up in the
I was
battle.
super excited. It was only like, okay, we're good, we're locked. I'm sending the contracts over. It was like 4 days went by, 4 or 5 days. So it wasn't a long time.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to make it seem like, like they switched the opponent last minute. I don't think I did that, with how I addressed it.
Right.
But
No,
in
you
that
didn't.
first,
You didn't. You
in
didn't.
that 4 days, I was like this. Let's go. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like the pen was moving in that 4 days,
Right.
and so I was excited for it just because it would be a return for Misfit. We haven't seen her in a little while.
Yeah.
But I was excited for Vixen just as much too. So
Who did a better job against Vixen? You or Loso?
hey man, two very different battles, man. Loso went viral, man. You can't be on Snapchat, Facebook, or nothing without seeing J Black Smack White
Right.
sponsored
Yeah.
ads. So
Yeah.
my guy Loso went, he got
Yeah.
busy, and I guess she might just have to join the Horsemen. She might have to buy some Battle Saga, and then she might just have to join the
Right.
Horsemen.
Did you see Easy's tweet about you?
I did see Easy tweet, and he gave respect, where respect is due. And like that's all I want, like I mean we're all battle rappers, at the end of the day, like if we battling or whatever, we might have to tap into that, like, nah, you good, but I'll get you up out of here and talk crazy back and forth. But it's like, like if you just out here tweeting like A Ward ain't good,
Yeah,
okay, he's
that's
this, he did that, like you just look lame.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What's your thoughts on Easy and Hitman last night?
I watched that first round, I was hyped. But then my feet was hurting and everything like that, and the round was so long, man. Like they
Hitman's
were,
first round was long.
and so the second round lost steam, and so I was like, man, I got to go find a place to sit down, So I actually went and sat down.
Can I ask you a question as a competitor? Do you think Hitman compacted too much in that first round that he could have taken some of that off to put in the second? Do you feel that way as a writer?
Yeah, because
As a battle
I
rapper?
didn't really get this. I got to see bits and pieces of the second and third. But yeah, you can go. Oh, you can OD. And a lot of times I don't know how guys write, but all of these bars that come to you, you're hype. You throw it on the first, and you think, oh, well, I'm gonna start on the second now, and then time gets away from you, and then you're writing, and you're like, okay, the second's done. Now I got to write a third. And like all of your fresh best material and your first ideas are all stuck in that first, So like you got to learn how to like take things and put them in different pockets. To slow down the Crown Vic bar, that's probably the second bar I wrote for her. That's probably the second bar I wrote for her, And so naturally you think, oh, if that's the second thing he wrote down, it would have ended up in the first round. No, like I didn't want to. I mean, I knew what kind of where I wanted to go, so I'm gonna put it at the end of my second round,
Right.
So there is a battle rap IQ that goes with that. But yeah, them long rounds, you know what I mean? Like, man, I mean, now granted, Hitman's making a lot more money than me, you know what I mean? And some of these guys, but like, if you paying me for 334 or whatever, like, I'm just writing for charity now. Like, why I'm writing 6 minutes? I wrote a whole nother battle. If you do 6 minute rounds, that's 18. Now I just wrote a whole nother battle for free. Like you can pay me for this.
Well, do you feel that the girls were upset that you said that a woman can't beat you? Do you think people really got mad at you because of that?
I don't know if I told you this. So I said that the day that I found out Misfit wasn't battling me.
Okay.
So initially I'm thinking, dang, I might not be on Chrome 23 now, and I was very excited, you know? So I said that just to see if any like females would like get crazy on Twitter or whatever and say, nah, you know what? I'll smoke you. And then, hey, Remy, you see what happened here? All right, book that one. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was really like, I mean, yeah, I feel like nobody can beat me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that way. I feel like nobody in battle rap can beat me. But I said no female can beat me, which includes anybody in battle rap. I said it like that because I definitely wanted to ruffle some feathers and see if anybody jumped out and was like, and was able to get back on the card because, we weren't doing the Misfit battle.
Well, let me ask you, it's been a couple of weeks right now. What's your assessment on you and Big K?
Man, I watched it back. I think he got the first clear. He went crazy in the first. I think I got the third, and I think the second is close. I'm not mad at people giving him the second clear. I'm not. But I just think, man,
people said you were crazy because I think they said you won the battle, and people like you were tripping. What do you say?
No, I told Remy. She said you're coming off a loss, and I said don't put that loss on me. The battle's not out yet. You know what I mean? Like the only people that saw is people in the building about the pay-per-view. Like, don't put that loss on me. Like, let people watch it and find out what they're doing, because that's how battle rap is.
They say in the first round, sir, Remy won a deposit back. Yes, you made a joke about it.
You got
but you had to feel the type of way.
You got to, because I'm not so cocky and delusional to be like, I've never lost.
Right,
so I make the jokes about it and stuff like that. But when I watch it back, the second round that I think is close, it got the whole like Ken, like it's got that in it, you know what I mean? It's got the Southern scheme. It's got a lot of stuff in there that I really, really liked, But yeah, I'm not mad at people saying I lost. I've never been mad at anybody saying I lost to Ilmac. Never been mad at anybody saying I lost to DNA. Like those are times where in the building, like I felt like, I left the building against Big K. Like, yeah, the building definitely got him winning,
Yeah.
But the building also, the energy was switching in that third round when I was talking to him and people was looking around like, oh, you should have did this round first, like, so I definitely, I watched it back, and like I said, man, the best Big K we probably ever seen in 5 years, right?
It was.
Okay.
Ilmac, if it's Ilmac, I'm going to say that. Like 3
exactly.
rounds.
Yes. Yeah. So Big K, one of probably the greatest punchers ever, right? And somebody, like, dog, imagine if your favorite movie, right? Like, put a sequel out or something like that. And, all of a sudden it came through and it was just as good as way back then. You so hyped leaving the movie theater, like, yeah, like the nostalgia idea of like, oh, we haven't seen this in 5 years is like, it's so fulfilling,
Right.
Like, that's what we always want from people. Like, we want to see them at their best. And so that's dope. I just have this effect to where I'm like, I got the Patrick Mahomes effect where, like, if I go 300, 3 touchdowns and an interception, all of a sudden it's just regular. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what I do on every stage, every time. No slip-ups, no nothing,
Even though it's Black History Month, man, I appreciate, 14 days. That line you said was crazy. Yo, Mooks, Did you see? Obviously, you're probably not paying attention because you're focused on your opponent and everything. But were you able to glance at Mook at all while you rapping though? His
I seen
facial
him one time and
expressions.
like he spit his water out one time. I forget what I said. And then I did see him walk off the stage on the Crown Vic bar.
Him, my son, like these brothers. I mean, guys behind me. There's people saying leave her alone.
Yeah.
There was like, I mean, how much pride do you take in writing though, A-Ward? We never talk about the pride in writing. I can feel like you never let bars off.
No, yeah,
never let
I
bars
can't.
off.
That's one of the tough things about preparation too, is because like I could write a whole battle right now. You know what I mean? I could rhyme words, but if I don't really, really like it, it does not stay on the paper. You know? And I might have bars that I tell people like, yo, what do you think about this? Oh, that's fire. And then I'm like, it's not good enough. You know what I mean? So I have like a whole, Word document of punches and crazy different things that didn't make the battle,
Right.
You know, like I had so much stuff that didn't go in the K battle, and who knows, that stuff could have hit, but I didn't like it. It didn't resonate with me. And so I'm always like, I'm trying not to take any bars off. I'm trying not to talk about anything that makes no sense in talking about. I'm trying to be direct. I'm trying to attack, and I'm trying to be creative. And I think that's the thing is like, man, when you watch me, like, what's he going to do this battle?
Yeah, that's
all
what
right,
it
we're
is.
doing the reverse punches.
Yeah.
All right, you're doing the triple schemes. All right, you're doing this. Now you're doing jokes. Now you're doing, performances and stuff like that. Like, what else is he going to do? I've done schemes in different languages and all kinds of stuff, and I'm always trying to stretch my own creativity because I have to like it first in order. I don't know if you saw Mook's interview. They like the way he confidently like raps up there. I'm like, I have to like it in order to confidently rap. There's no way I can go up there and confidently rap stuff that I don't like on my page.
Got you. You and Hollow, does that make sense this year?
Yeah. Me and Hollow makes sense. Me and Verb makes sense. Me and Calicoe makes sense. Me and T-Top, Tay-Rock, or Jazz on the Riot. I'll take one of them on the Riot. T-Top, Tay-Rock, or Jazz.
Jazz?
Yeah.
I like that.
Somebody got to step out for the females now because I doubled down on it, right? Like, I said what I said, and then I did what I did, and now,
Right. Well, man, I just want to tell you, man, I appreciate it. I've seen you twice this year already, back-to-back events, man. And one thing people can't, watching you, man, is watching you rap and people's facial expression. I'm around Suge, John, your peers and everything, and the way they give it up to you, listening to them, you know what I'm saying? It's amazing for me to watch, man.
Privately. They love it privately.
Yes. Privately. Yes. Biggie Smalls had a line said, they love me, but it's on the low, though. And that's real with you, I think. People love you on the low, though. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you all, man, for real, brother.
No, thank you, man. Great seeing you this weekend, man. Take care. And I'm about to head home. I'm sitting in the airport parking lot, man. I got right off the plane. It was like, let me talk to 3, man. Man.
Love, boy. I appreciate you, King.
You already know, man. Y'all stay up.